Hi there, my name's Todd Taylor, and today we're going to be talking about how to add quizzes to Brightspace. Adding quizzes is a two-step process. The first step is to create our questions in the question library, and then the second step is to add our questions to the quiz itself, which is the delivery mechanism for providing those questions to the learner. Now, that might seem a little bit weird, but sometimes you might have a pool of questions that you want to deliver to your students over a number of weeks to reinforce spaced repetition so that students can practice at answering questions over and over again to really reinforce questions. Or sometimes maybe your midterm repeats questions from the weekly quizzes that you asked during each week leading up to it. So by separating the two, it means less work for you. You only have to write your questions once, and then you can deliver them in a range of situations through the various quizzes themselves. So let's look at how we create quizzes. Again, it's a two-step process. First, we create the quiz library, then we create the quiz itself, or question library. Okay, so to access both, we use the quizzes tool in Brightspace. And this tool is in the nav bar up the top here. So in the nav bar, I'm going to click on quizzes. Okay. By default, it comes to our manage quizzes tool. We want to use the question library tool first up so we can create our questions first. So the first step is to go to question library. Okay, so in Brightspace, we often put things into folders. In our question library, these folders are called sections. So the reason we use sections is so that we can keep our questions nicely organized. So when we pull things, so we can easily find a variety of questions as well, because sometimes our courses can accumulate questions very quickly. So it helps us keep organized. So I'm going to add a folder. Again, in Brightspace, a folder for our questions is called a section. I'm going to give this folder a name. And then I'm going to hit save. Okay, so at first it didn't seem very intuitive when I was saying a folder is called a section, but now you can see that looks like a folder and, acts like a folder. It's a folder. So let's just drill into this folder so we can then add our questions. Here we go. We just drilled into the folder. So occasionally we have imported our questions from Blackboard and we might going, oh no, we've lost all my questions. What am I going to do? I have to recreate them all. You can also import questions into your folder as well. So using this import button, you can browse existing questions and find the questions which have been brought into Brightspace from Blackboard. In this case, we're going to create new questions. Brightspace offers a variety of question types. I'm just going to run over these very quickly. There's more than I'm going to go over, so you can explore these in your own time. There's a variety of what I call closed questions. Closed questions are where there's one correct answer. I mean, where there is a definite correct answer or correct answers. So a true-false question has obviously one correct answer. It's either true or false. A multiple choice question has a list of options where one is correct. A multiple select question has a list of options where one or more may be correct. We also have short answer questions where you have a couple of words, one or two or three words, which are the correct answer. Or there might be a multiple short answer question where you have a number of options. So that's kind of a little bit like the multiple select question, but students have to come up with the terms themselves. Another common question, which I would refer to as being an open question, is the written response question. This is where students can write a sentence, a paragraph, even upload images or a video, and they're kind of like open. So there's no right or wrong answer there. That requires you as instructor to go in and grade that response. So when I'm talking about open questions, I'm really talking about the written response type questions. Okay, so now I've gone over the question types. Let's create a question. So to create a question, we go to the New button, and then we choose our question type. I'm going to choose a multiple choice question. In the question text field, we type our prompt. Next, we type our answers. If we scroll down, you will notice there's a checkbox for randomized question order. So you have the option to randomize the order that options appear within a question. In this case, I'm going to leave this one unchecked because you'll notice that all the above is the very last option. If we randomize it, then all the above might be the first option and it wouldn't make much sense to students. So I'm going to leave all the above unchecked. So next step is to indicate which question is correct. So to do that, I just click on the correct option, and that tells me which question is correct. It tells Brightspace which question is correct so that it can automatically grade the assignment. We have the option to add overall feedback. So I'm going to say, and you also have the option to define the point value for a question as well. I'm going to leave that one as well. And I'm going to then hit save. There we go. Our question is added to our question library. You would then add more questions using the same process. You'd go to the New button, you would choose your question type, and then you would add it to your question library. When you are done, you'd then go to the Done Editing Questions button. So if I click on my Done Editing Questions button, this will take me back to the Manage Quizzes page. So we've just gone through the first step for adding questions to our quiz question library. The steps are to click on the question library tool. Then we create a section, which is going to be a folder for our questions. We select that folder to drill into it, and then we add our questions to that folder. We can add questions by manually creating questions, or we can, if our questions have been already imported in the Brightspace, we can find them by using that import button. Okay, so now we have our question library. How do we deliver these to our students? To do that, we create a quiz. So I'm going to create a new quiz. To create a new quiz, we use the New Quiz button. And the interface is very similar to the assignments interface. We have what I would describe as the core fields on the left and the optional fields on the right. I will go through the ones on the left first because I would describe these as the core ones. These are the ones that we have to do so it's usable to students. Okay, we'll give this a name. I'm going to call this my demo quiz. Next, so you notice that currently it's at 0 points. We're going to add it to our gradebook. And I click on the Not in Gradebook button and then edit or link to existing. If you have grade categories set up in your gradebook, you would use the Choose Grade Category button to nest it under the relevant category. In this video, I'm assuming we're not there yet. In the grades video, I'll show you how you can move items into categories later on. So if you're creating quizzes first, we can come back to adding these to your grade categories later on. But again, if you are using grade categories, you'd use the Choose Grade Category button to add it to your quiz. I'm just going to click OK to add this as an item to my gradebook. There we go. And now we're getting this alert saying, hey, this can't be a grade out of 0. I'm going to leave this as it is for the moment and show you what it looks like after we add our questions. Next, we'll add our due date. Then make it due next Friday. And a description. This quiz okay. So we have 2 buttons in the questions section. There's a create new button, and I'd recommend we probably wouldn't use that one too often. I would recommend using our question library to create our quiz questions. That way we keep them organized. I would recommend once we create our question library, we use the add existing button to then add them to our quizzes. So the blue button usually tells us what we should be doing. So I'm going to click on the blue button, and here's our option to browse our question library. Click on that critter. Here's our demo questions. I'm going to expand the folder, and then you can go through and select the questions that you want. So you've got more than one question, you'll be able to go through and click all the checkboxes to select those questions. I'm going to now import these questions into my quiz, and that imports it. That's bare basics on adding questions to our quiz. Now let's just go through these advanced options at a very high level. So availability dates and conditions, that's where you can set open and close dates for your quiz, as well as set special access. So a student may need more time on the quiz, or a student may need the different set of dates on a quiz as well. The timing and display option, which is our second option here, allows us to set a time limit on a quiz. So often we do want to set a time limit on a quiz. We want to set, say, 10 minutes or 2 hours, or what we think is appropriate time for students to submit the quiz. We can also define when that timing starts. So if you're teaching in a classroom and you want all your students to start the quiz at a certain time and end at a certain time, you can set that in the timing option. You can also change how your questions display in your quiz. So whether you want 1 page per question, or whether you want all your questions on 1 page, 5 questions on a page, 10 questions on a page, you'd use that option. The attempts and completion option allows you to define how many attempts students have on a quiz. So you can have, in this case, it's defaulted to 1 attempt is allowed. So you have 1 and done. You can change it to unlimited, or you can change it to anywhere between 1 and 10. And the final option here is the evaluation and feedback option. This one is important if we're doing a written response type of question. So currently you'll see that auto publish results is selected by default. If we want to change, if we had a written response question in our quiz, what auto publish results does is that it automatically grades the written response as 0 and pushes the results out to the student. So the student will think that they failed on those written response questions. I would suggest if we go into this critter and deselect auto publish, what that means is that students, after they complete the questions, will see that the results are pending. That is, they haven't been graded by yourself yet, so they won't be released, so a grade won't be released yet. In this case, our question is a closed question where there's 1 correct answer, so it's okay to auto-publish the results. Here as well, you can also choose what's displayed to users after the results are published. So you can choose to display to students the questions with correct answers, without correct answers, or just show them the incorrect answers and whether the correct answers that are associated with them as well. So they're at a high level, the options that are available. I'm also going to quickly set the time limit here as well. So I click on the time limit page and I make this a 10-minute quiz. It's going to be asynchronous, which means that it's when they start the quiz, and it's going to be an auto submit when the time is up. That is, once the quiz is done, once the time limit's up, the quiz will submit, and that's as far as the students can get in the quiz. You also have the option of setting it so that it's flagged as time limit ran out, but the students can still go through and answer questions. You might choose that if you just want to see what students know, but then you might take 10% off for it being late. That's an option to consider as well. Okay. So we've just gone through this quiz at a very high level. There's 2 steps to go. The second last step is making it visible to students. So if you click on this hidden toggle, that makes it visible to students. And the final step is hitting save and close. And our quiz is now added to our quizzes section. In the content video, we'll go through how we might then add our quiz to our content. But for now, thank you for watching. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.